The rain was coming down in steady sheets that evening, smearing the glowing neon lights of the grocery store into hazy streaks across the wet pavement. Inside the store, fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting a pale glow on the nearly empty aisles. A man named Daniel pushed a squeaky shopping cart slowly, glancing at a handwritten list folded and refolded a dozen times. His daughter, Lily, just 7 years old, trailed beside him, clutching a worn teddy bear under one arm and humming softly to herself. Daniel wasn't just shopping for dinner that night. He was fighting to keep his fragile little world stitched together. It had been 2 years since his wife passed away suddenly, leaving him to navigate parenthood alone. He worked long shifts as a delivery driver, rushing from one end of town to another, but no matter how many hours he worked, the bills always seemed to outpace the money. That night, he picked up only the essentials: bread, milk, pasta, a pack of apples Lily loved, and a box of cereal she begged for. It wasn't much, but it would stretch. He was already calculating in his mind whether the week's paycheck would cover the rent. When they reached the checkout, Daniel noticed something unusual about the cashier. She was a young woman, no more than 25, with tired eyes framed by strands of hair that had slipped loose from her bun. But what caught his attention most was the way her hands trembled as she tried to scan items. Each beep of the register was shaky, uneven. She fumbled with the bread, nearly dropping it, and Daniel felt a pang of concern. He leaned forward slightly, trying to sound casual but sincere. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. "Why are your hands shaking?" For a moment, she froze. Her eyes flicked up to his, wide and uncertain, as if no one had asked her such a thing in a long time. Then she swallowed, blinking rapidly, and whispered, "It's nothing. I'm fine." But the truth was written all over her face. Lily tugged on her father's sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, maybe she's cold." But Daniel knew it wasn't the chill of the air conditioning that made her tremble. As the last item was scanned, the cashier's composure finally cracked. With a trembling breath, she admitted quietly, I haven't eaten much in the past couple of days. Rent went up, my paycheck doesn't stretch far, and I guess my body's just not handling it well." She let out a small, embarrassed laugh, but her eyes shone with tears she fought to hide. Daniel's chest tightened. He knew that feeling, standing on the edge, stretched too thin, too proud to ask for help. He had been there, more times than he could count, silently carrying burdens no one else could see. For a moment, silence hung between them, broken only by the hum of the register and the sound of Lily shifting on her feet. Then Lily, with the blunt innocence of a child, asked, "Daddy, can we help her?" Daniel felt his throat tighten. He wanted to help, but his wallet was nearly empty. His bank balance haunted him every day. Still, as he looked at the young woman, he remembered all the times strangers had shown him small kindnesses after his wife's death. A neighbor who dropped off a meal, a mechanic who gave him a discount, a teacher who comforted Lily when he was late for pickup. Those moments had kept him going. He thought, if I turn away now, what kind of example am I setting for my daughter? Without another word, Daniel turned back toward the aisles. "Stay here, sweetheart," he whispered to Lily. He walked quickly, grabbing a basket, and began filling it, not just with food, but with things he knew mattered: protein, vegetables, rice, soup cans, even a carton of eggs and a small bag of treats. He wasn't sure how he would cover the cost, but something inside told him this was the right thing to do. When he returned to the checkout, the cashier looked startled. "Oh, you forgot something?" she asked, her voice thin. "No," Daniel said softly. He placed the basket on the counter. "This is for you." Her eyes widened in shock. "What? No, I can't." "You said you haven't eaten," Daniel interrupted gently. "You don't need to explain. Just, please, let me do this." Her hands shook harder now, but for a different reason. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she tried to protest. "But you don't even know me." Daniel smiled faintly, though his heart ached with the weight of his own struggles. "Maybe not. But I know what it's like to feel like no one sees you. And I can't stand by when I do see." The cashier covered her mouth, sobbing quietly as she scanned the items. She kept whispering, thank you, as though the words could never be enough. When the total flashed on the screen, Daniel's stomach knotted. He knew it would hurt financially. But before he could reach for his worn-out debit card, something unexpected happened. A man in line behind them, who had been watching silently, stepped forward. "Put half of that on my card," he said firmly. "And give her the groceries." Then another voice spoke up from the next aisle over. I'll cover the eggs and the milk. A woman with a cart of her own approached and placed a bill on the counter. One by one, strangers began stepping in. A small crowd gathered around, each adding something, a few dollars, an encouraging word, a gesture. By the time the groceries were bagged, the cashier not only had food for herself but also enough money tucked discreetly into one of the bags to carry her through the week. She was sobbing openly now, overwhelmed. I don't deserve this, she whispered. Daniel bent slightly, meeting her eyes with the same gentle steadiness he gave his daughter. You do. We all do. Sometimes the hardest thing is believing it. Lily reached across the counter and handed the young woman her teddy bear. He keeps me safe, she said softly. Now he can help you too. The cashier broke down completely, clutching the bear to her chest like it was the most precious gift in the world. Everyone in the store seemed to pause, hearts softening in that quiet, human moment. As Daniel and Lily left with their own small bag of groceries, the rain outside had slowed to a drizzle. The neon lights no longer looked harsh but somehow warm, reflecting in puddles that shimmered like tiny mirrors of hope. Daniel held Lily's hand tightly. She looked up at him and said, Daddy, do you think Mommy saw what we did? He swallowed hard, emotions catching in his throat, and whispered, I think she did. And I think she's proud. That night, as they drove home, Daniel realized something important. Kindness wasn't about how much you had to give. It was about giving anyway, even when it cost you something, because love multiplies when it's shared. And sometimes, a single question, why are your hands shaking, can change more than one life. If this story touched your heart, remember to share it forward, because kindness is contagious. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe, you never know which story might inspire the next act of kindness.